Morning from Hamburg. Right, I've left the hotel early. Do you know what? I didn't really like parking my car outside there. I had to move it last night because it's a bit weird. Premiere in, just the parking was a bit weird. But what I've come to look at today is one of the flak towers in Hamburg. But here we go. Whoops. That's one of the huge flak towers of Hamburg. Been converted into who knows what. Yeah, so it's absolutely huge, but it's obviously used as some kind of energy thing now. But yeah, you'd have had, I would have thought you'd have had on the top 88mm flak guns. And some smaller caliber guns. It was also doubled up as an air raid shelter. So yeah, not all air raid shelters are underground. The Germans built a lot of above ground air raid shelters, but that is massive. There is another one. I'm not going to go. I don't know if you can go in it or not, but yeah, it's just massive. Shame you can't take your drone up, but I'm not going to risk it. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble again. Do I like Hamburg? I had been before in the 90s. We drove up, when I was in the army, we drove up and went out. I was going to go out last night, but you know what, I couldn't be bothered. It was about an hour's walk to the centre, or a bit shorter, but it was about an hour, so to get back, it was quite late when I got here. I don't know, I've gone opposite. They're just too busy. But yeah, so we're still carrying on the trip. So I stayed in Hamburg last night. I've had a drive around, had a look round. I don't think there's much, it's all new. It's all a big massive harbour. Traffic is horrendous. But yeah, I wonder what this was like just after the war, or after it had been bombed.
Operation Gomorrah was a campaign of air raids which began on the 24th of July 1943 and lasted for 8 days and 7 nights. It was at the time the heaviest assault in the history of aerial warfare. Before July 1943, RAF Bomber Command's focus had been on the Ruhr industrial region, which had been the target of a 5-month-long campaign. Operation Gomorrah was carried out by RAF Bomber Command, including RCAF, RAAF and Polish squadrons, and the USAF 8th Air Force. The British conducted night raids and the USAF daylight raids. The initial attack on Hamburg included 2 new introductions to the British planning. They used window, later known as chaff, to confuse the German radar, while the Pathfinder Force aircraft, which normally kept radio silence, reported the winds they encountered, and this information was processed and relayed to the Bomber Force navigators. Hamburg was selected as a target because it was considered particularly susceptible to attack with incendiaries, which, from the experience of the Blitz, were known to inflict more damage than just high explosive bombs. Hamburg also contained a high number of targets supporting the German war effort and was relatively easy for navigators to find. Careful research was done on behalf of both the RAF and USAF to discover the optimum mix of high explosives and incendiaries. Before the development of the Firestorm in Hamburg, There had been no rain for some time and everything was very dry. The unusually warm weather and good conditions ensured that the bombing was highly concentrated around the intended targets and helped the resulting conflagration create a vortex and whirling updraft of superheated air, which became a 460-meter high, 1,510 feet, tornado of fire. The death toll from Operation Gomorrah will always be uncertain, but the most accepted single number is now 37,000. If a range is stated, this is generally between 34,000 from police records and 40,000, a commonly used figure in Germany before the end of the war. Most of the dead were unidentified. By the 1st of December 1943, there were 31,647 confirmed dead, but of these only 15,802 were based on the identification of a body. In some cases, the numbers of people who had perished in cellars converted into air protection rooms could only be estimated from the quantity of ash left on the floor. Those who died represented about 2.4% of the total population of Hamburg at the time. Aftermath. Cityscape. The totally destroyed quarter of Hammerbrook, in which mostly port workers lived, was rebuilt not as a housing area but as a commercial area. The adjoining quarter of Rothenburgsort shared the same fate since only a small area of housing was rebuilt. The underground line that connected both areas with the central station was not rebuilt either. In the destroyed residential areas, many houses were rebuilt across the street and so no longer form connected blocks. The hills of the Eugendorfer Park are formed by the debris of destroyed houses. In January 1946, Major Cortez F. Enloe, a surgeon in the USAAF who worked on the USSBS, said that the fire effects of the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki were not nearly as bad as the effects of the RAF raids on Hamburg on July 27, 1943. He estimated that more than 40,000 people died in Hamburg.
Okay, we're in the Dockland area of Hamburg. I am going to go miniature Wonderland. While I'm here, I might as well. It's only going to be a short trip around there, so it'll be quick. But yeah, I'll get some footage and show you.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's Miniature Wonderland done. That was really good actually. I could have stayed longer in there, but I've got to get places. So we'll be leaving Hamburg now and heading east.